Okay, today we are going to review Siman Tov Kufnun. We have spent some time on the Siman. The Siman has very relevant topics in it. The second Siman of the halachas of fasting. However, someone who learns the Siman in depth properly, even though it's only a page of Mishnah, a page or two, will discover that there's a lot to cross-reference from other locations. In this Siman, we will review the Word document that I wrote, attempting to summarize everything that we've learned in the past 6 sessions we've spent on the Siman. I'll now screen share what I worked on this writing. A very brief introduction. The pregnant nursing women need to fast. Also within that question, is there any leniency that could be applied to women in general that they don't need to fast if they're not pregnant or nursing? Is it permissible to shower, anoint oneself, wear leather shoes, and have relations on a fast day? We're talking over here about not Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, it should be pointed out. So, is that going to be permissible? Why not? Also, going to a pool on a fast day, is that allowed? Is it permissible to brush one's teeth or use mouthwash on a fast day? And is it permissible to go to a dentist on a fast day? Also, when does the fast begin? Introduction. Now, it should be pointed out that within this section of do women need to fast, there's going to be subcategories as I broke it down. Introduction. Torah says that it is prohibited to breach the fence and not fast. This certainly applies nowadays. Similarly, Shulchan Aruch says that everyone is obligated to fast for these 4 fasts and it is prohibited to breach the fence. In other words, people who don't have a heter, who don't have something that allows them to break their fast, and they break their fast consistently, and they do it all the time, except they fast on Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur. But they basically disregard these fasts. It's against halacha. It's breaching a fence. It's a full-fledged obligation, and it's not something that is orthodox. That is the introduction to the Siman. However, even though that might sound a little extreme, it's not, because it's a basic Shulchan Aruch. However, for every rule, there's always exceptions. And the more one researches the topic, the more exceptions that one will discover, which make it completely permissible not to follow the general rule. However, someone who just thinks that he knows what he's talking about and gives a psak is making a very, very big mistake. And you see that a lot of times that that's done. What's the story with pregnant women? The pregnant and nursing women need to fast. The green is a subcategory within the main category. Ramal says that pregnant women and nursing women, that pregnant and nursing women who are in a lot of pain don't need to fast. Even if they aren't in a lot of pain, they aren't obligated to fast, says Normal. Rather, the custom is to be stringent. This specifically refers to the 3 fasts, all the more so Tainus Esther. However, they are obligated to fast on Tisha B'Av. I'd like to say 3 points on this Ramah. It's a lot of points a person could say on this Ramah. First of all, when we say the 3 fasts, we're referring to Sheva, Asar B'Tammuz, Som, Gedalia, and Asar B'Teves, and all the more so, this would apply on Tainus Esther. When the Ramah says that on Tisha B'Av they need to fast, that is actually not so simple. Next week, Amir Hashem, we're going to be learning about the obligation for women, pregnant nursing, to fast on Tisha B'Av or not. The Ramah actually over here references him in Tavkuf Nun Daled Sif Hey, but it's also Sif Vav. And it is actually not so simple that they do need to fast on Tisha B'Av, and it will depend on the exact case and scenario and stage of nursing that they are up to. And we'll see more details about that next week. Figured once we're already learning so much about women fasting, we might as well learn it properly. We have Tisha B'Av coming up. We'll learn Tisha B'Av, and then perhaps even we'll learn Yom Kippur, and then we'll really cover the topic well.
Wow.
So that we'll be able to answer any shiloh that any woman would potentially have and not leave a rock uncovered, as is our style. Those were 2 points. about this Ramah. That number one, this isn't just the three fasts, it's really four fasts, including Tiny Sesser. Number two, they are not necessarily obligated to fast on Tisha B'Av. We will learn more about that, as it says in footnote 1, see Sif 6 Vav for more details. The third point about this Ramah is the Ramah says the two extremes. He says that if they are in a lot of pain, they don't need to fast. If they are in any pain, then the custom is to fast. What about if they're in slight pain? That question will be answered automatically as we continue from the Divrei Yatzif. Many Rosh yeshivas, including Rabbi Ruderman, are lenient for mothers watching little children in the house, that they don't need to fast since they are usually weak. Okay, this is quoted in the Charles Shuvah B'Chad Shel, Piskei Shuvah. This is quoted all over the place.
Is there a reason why we're focusing more on just women in general as far as nursing or like like that be we just mentioned that a woman who's watching children that's I mean obviously it's a big job, but I'm saying
Hold on,
that's
yeah. Sorry, keep going. Keep
so why
going.
we're focusing a lot on I think why we I mean it's not why are we focusing so much on women? I'm just curious. Like I know nursing in a pregnant woman, but besides that, like
Why are we focusing on it? Because
is
that's
there
what the
is there
Ramah is
is
talking about. We're learning a Ramah. The Ramah is talking about pregnant and nursing women,
But so but he's not why does Rama focus more on why is the focus on women? I'm just curious.
as opposed to
As opposed to men who have a
that's
very
also discussed.
strenuous job.
That's also discussed. That's what we learned, and that's what we're going to learn
Oh,
as we continue with this Word document.
all right, fine.
Yeah. So, the in Brisk they didn't fast. The Shilos and Chuvas Mekadesh Yishal says that a pregnant or nursing woman who feels healthy shouldn't break her fast. So that's a very important line there. At the end of the day, it comes to their health status, and that's really what it comes down to. It's just that typically pregnant or nursing women are weaker, but at the end of the day, it comes to a person's health status and how they're coping with the fast. If she asks a rabbi if she could break her fast, and this demonstrates that the fast is difficult for her and she can therefore be lenient. Now, this rabbi must ascertain that the fast is truly difficult for her and that she isn't trying to weave her way out of fasting. And regarding that, the Shal Shuvas Mekati Shal says that someone who calls a Rav saying he doesn't feel well on a fast doesn't need to continue fasting. We assume that someone who asks if he can break his fast is weak to the extent that he is no longer obligated to fast. It could be that this lenient ruling can only be given to someone who asks the Rav in person. Conversely, it could be that people will call different rabbis on different fast days in order not to fast. Therefore, the Rav should answer that someone who doesn't feel good is exempted from fasting. In other words, make sure that when someone is asking the Shaila that that the person is actually in pain and sick, not just trying to weave their way out of a fast. Similarly, the Divrei Yotzev rules that a healthy woman should be stringent and fast. If it is even slightly difficult, then she should fast until chatzos, midday. This ruling explains the Ramah's vagueness. Ramah only addressed pregnant and nursing women who are in a lot of pain or not in any pain. So this talks about even if they're in
Hmm.
slight pain, there's a
Also,
leniency of the Divrei Yotzev that they
she
would
should
not
try
need to fast.
she should try to fast the Hatzos.
It sounds like.
All the
She
more
should
so pregnant and nursing.
she should try to fast till Hatzos.
That's what he says.
And is there and there would be a minhag or there'd be an Indian to daven mincha before breaking the fast, or it doesn't matter?
No, not brought down. Many poskim say that nowadays all pregnant and nursing women are considered to be in pain and don't need to fast on the minor fast. This opinion you will not see on the page of the Shulchan Aruch or the Torah. This comes from people after. Doesn't have such early sources, and this leniency is not so simple. This lenient ruling certainly applies if she recognizes that if she fasts, she will become weak and be in a lot of pain. She could eat immediately in the morning. However, she shouldn't have fancy food such as meat and wine. Rather, she should eat simple food that sustains her body and health. Rabbi Shmuel Vosner says that healthy, pregnant, and nursing women should begin fasting. If she needs to eat in the middle of the fast, she may do so.
Hmm.
I like this psak a lot. Okay. At the end of the day, it's going to depend upon her health, how she's feeling. So at least she should start to try. Chuchani says that if the weather is hot, then pregnant and nursing women shouldn't fast at all. If you look in the Chuchani over there, in Shabbos, in Chelik Dalid, Perak Sadi Gimel, he has like around 7 pages on very relevant halachas regarding women and fasting in general, and for also Tisha B'Av and other times. It's a very good place to look for women and fasting. It should be pointed out that this ruling of the Chuchani wouldn't apply to a woman who is in a comfortably air-conditioned location, even if it is hot outside. Obvious point. Depends on the AC and where they are. This wouldn't apply even if it's 120 degrees outside, if she's in a cool environment. Shalos and Chuvas Makadesh Israel says that women who aren't pregnant or nursing are obligated to fast. Someone who is lenient is who to rely on. There are also more leniencies for women that are childbearing age. Harfiness then says that nowadays this doesn't apply. Being lenient for non-pregnant or nursing women doesn't apply anymore. People used to not have enough food, they didn't have enough money and food. People therefore would become weak on fasting. This especially applied to women. In fact, Ritva says that someone who isn't able to make himself satiated if he fasts will lead to a danger. Conversely, in our generation, there's a tremendous abundance of food. Even people who are poor receive free food stamps, vouchers, Tomskei, Shabbos, etc. Other poskim also rule that women who are pregnant must fast. So general halacha is women who aren't pregnant must fast. You can look in the Kovetz halachos on Beina Mitzarim all the way in the beginning, first page. Rabbi Shmuel Kamenetsky says this. He actually is very anti those people who try to exempt women in general, and he says there's no source for that, and he bashes it.
Shmuel Kamenetsky.
Yeah, could look at that.
So he says that women should fast.
Oh yeah. So look, in summary, I kind of didn't put a conclusion sentence or paragraph over here,
Which one?
which should be maybe added. But at least now that we're talking and having a conversation over here, at the end of the day, if they're in pain, they don't need to fast. That's the Rama. That's the end of the day. Other factors have to be taken into consideration, such as the amount of children, the environment that they're in, if it is hot or cold, and if it's very difficult for her. Those factors have to be considered. Even when she is allowed to break her fast, she should probably try to start fasting and see where that leads her and what her status is.
It's very funny. Tisha B'Av is in the middle of the winter in Australia or in all these places.
Yeah. I mean, the weather nowadays doesn't really matter for us because we basically make our own environment wherever we are from the HVAC system. But
No, but it's easier.
that would
Oh, yeah.
basically be the concluding remark on this.
Mhm.
And if they're not pregnant and nursing, it's not as simple. When is someone considered pregnant? Mishnah Brura says someone's only considered halachically pregnant when the fetus is recognizable, meaning minimally 3 months. It's possible that after 40 days of the formation of the fetus, women are considered halachically pregnant if she feels pain. Less than this time, she's like all other women, unless she is in a lot of pain. Mishnah Brura then quotes Mark Sia, says that if she feels weak, she shouldn't be stringent to fast at all. Do weak people need to fast? Mishnah Brura says that someone who is weak doesn't need to fast. Shals Chuvas Igros Moshe Feinstein Zatzal, in Orchaim Chilek Dalid Siman, Kuftia Dalid rules that someone who becomes weak while he is in the middle of working is considered someone who is sick, who the rabbis decreed doesn't need to fast. Similarly, someone who is working and becomes weak doesn't need to fast even on Tisha B'Av. He's still l'chachila able to work, even though if he wouldn't work, he wouldn't need to break his fast. In other words, you could go to work on these minor fasts, even if by doing so you need to break your fast. And if you wouldn't have went to work, then you wouldn't need to break your fast. Someone who is naturally weaker than other people is considered like someone who is sick, who is allowed to eat. Kafachayim and Sifkat and Vav in our Siman rules explicitly that old people will be in pain if they fast, don't need to fast. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach,
What's
quoted in the
considered
Halicha
old?
Shlomo and Perek Gimel footnote 12, explains that one doesn't need to wait to faint to break the fast. Someone who has a bad headache, stomach issues, or vomited, or has dizziness slash vertigo is exempt from fasting. That is in the Halichos Even Yisrael on the Moadim, Chelak Aleph, page 317, quoting Rabbi Fisher, Shin Yud Zayin. And the same would apply any other medical issues. If someone can either fast on the 17th of Tammuz or Tisha B'Av, but he can't do both, Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says in the same place, you would fast on Tisha B'Av. Same place, Ozvav.
What is the Torah considered old?
Someone's older. It's not an exact
Older?
age. Look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, old, male, female. All that matters, are you in pain? That's what it comes down to.
But
It's just
that's what we're
typical
supposed
that
to do.
people
That's the
who
whole
are
point of it.
older, people who are pregnant, women who are nursing, people who are weak will be in pain, and therefore they could break their fast. The Kaf HaChaim, all these others, they are just specifying scenarios, but it is all one case, aka, are you in pain or not? Or do you have medical issues or not?
Maybe medical issue. But the whole point of it is to be in pain, no?
No. Only
The whole
on
point.
Yom Kippur, it's supposed to
Only,
be an affliction. The other fast, it's supposed to be not painful. It's supposed to be there's a difference between pain and a difficulty versus it's something's hard. Something
uncomfortable.
is uncomfortable. There's discomfort. There's a difference between the two. Person's supposed to feel weaker on a fast, but if a person is too weak, that's already an issue.
So people, you really have to be in pain. You mean to say it's not like
We're
is
saying the
that
symptoms very clearly over here.
yeah?
A bad headache, migraine, stomach issues,
Mhm.
vomiting, dizziness. It's pretty clear cut what we're referring to over here. If someone who doesn't need to fast, able to eat whatever he wants, Mishnah Berurah says that even someone who needs to eat shouldn't indulge in meat and wine and the like. Rather, he should only eat what's necessary. Shulchan Aruch rules that someone who forgot and ate on a fast day should make it known to others that he ate. Excuse me, should not make it known to
Yeah.
others. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sorry.
So, first of all, you don't eat meat and wine. You don't indulge in delicacies. Okay? Shulchan Aruch in another place, not in our Siman. Siman Tov Kuf, Ayin Daled Siv Gimel, says that someone who forgot and ate on a fast day, don't make that evident to others. Don't let others know about that. The Magen Avram over there says that your face shouldn't shine up because you just ate. The Pri Megadim on that Magen Avram says make sure not to eat food that will cause one's breath to smell. In other words, because if your breath is going to smell like the food you just ate, people are going to know that you ate. Why can't we know that people just ate on a fast day? Whether from their face or whether from the smell. Who cares? We'll say in a moment. Achronim say that this applies to someone who needs to break his fast, but it isn't known that he is sick. The reason for this is others might be lenient and break their fast, claiming that if so-and-so broke his fast, then I can also break my fast. However, if it is obvious that he is sick, then others won't break their fast because they know the only reason he is breaking his fast is because he is sick, which doesn't apply to them. So this is the reason why you shouldn't make it known to others, aka only in a case if it's obvious that you're not sick. This idea is related by the Yishalus and Chuvas Ben Hagos Chelik Beis Siman Reish Samachay Moshe Sternbach. Someone who needs to break his fast, but will be fine with minimal food, should do so with the minimal food. However, someone who needs more food, they have more food. An example of this is someone who needs to take a certain medicine which cannot be taken with an empty stomach. He may eat more in order to take the medicine. That we saw in a few places. We saw it in a few places, this idea. So at the end of the day, could you eat whatever you want? No, you can't. You can't have very fancy food such as meat and wine. They're talking about the other fast. We're not talking about Tisha B'Av. We're not talking about Yom Kippur. That's number one. Number two, don't make it evident that you're breaking your fast to others if it's not obvious that you're sick. The children need to fast. Mishnah Berurah says that it is correct to educate children who have the mindset to mourn to only eat necessities, not fancy food. Similarly, Ber Haracha rules that only people who are bar and bas mitzvah are obligated to fast. That's the story with the fasting. I'm actually going to move this section. Doesn't belong over here.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I guess
Question.
that's what the mission was. It's correct to educate children just to not eat heavy stuff, but he said that there shouldn't be fasting if they're under bar mitzvah. Right? Did we see
Correct.
that somewhere?
We saw that Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach quoted by the Dersha.
That was Rosh Hashanah Auerbach. Okay, not the Mishnah. Okay.
Okay. I'm just moving this section of the showering and the pools to the end because we're just going to focus on fasting now. That comes at the end. Be better located there.
I have a tangent. Wait, what?
You could call me after this. Is it
Wait, wait,
permissible
wait.
to brush teeth on a fast day? Shilos and Shuvas Mekadesh Israel rules that it is not correct to rinse one's mouth out on a fast day. It's incorrect. Okay? He didn't make this up. This is straight in the Shulchan Aruch. However, someone who is in a lot of pain may brush his teeth on a fast day. Shulchan Aruch says that on a public fast day, it is not kosher to rinse one's mouth. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. Mishnah Berurah rules that it is incorrect. By the way, this specific section is better written than how I said this a few days ago when we learned this. There were a few nuances that is written much more accurately than what I say because I said a lot of it by heart. Okay. Now, Shulchan Aruch says that on a public fast day, there's Shulchan Aruch not in our Siman, cross-reference, Siman Tuf Kuf Samach Zayin Sev Gimel. Says that on a public fast day, it is not kosher to rinse one's mouth. Mishnah Berurah over there rules that it is incorrect for someone to wash his mouth out during a fast day, even if he regularly does so the rest of the year. Nevertheless, if he is in pain, it is permissible if he leans his head downward so he won't inadvertently drink some water. Mishnah Berurah doesn't say this exactly, so he won't inadvertently drink some water, but that's his intention. If he is in a lot of pain, he may do this even on Tisha B'Av. On Yom Kippur, he should be stringent and should not do this. Dersha Mishnah Berurah points out that even though on a regular day, one should rinse his mouth out to mention Hashem's name, is the Dersha Mishnah Berurah over there on footnote 8, and I forgot to say this when we learned this, to mention Hashem's name, the source of this is the Beis Yosef in Siman Dalet, as well as the Shulchan Aruch over there, Siman Dalet, Sif Yud Zayin. Nevertheless, on a fast day, one shouldn't rinse his mouth out lest he accidentally drink the water. Shilos and Chuvas Minchas Yitzchak rules that someone who is in pain and has bad breath may brush his teeth on a fast day. This is in Chelik Dalet, Siman Kuf Tes. He should be careful not to swallow the water. On Tisha B'Av, he may only brush his teeth if he is in a lot of pain. If he isn't in a lot of pain, then he may brush his teeth with the toothbrush and without toothpaste. You hear this?
Mm-hmm.
You could always use the toothbrush. We're talking about, are you going to be using water and toothpaste, though?
What's the point?
It still does something. It still cleans something.
So it takes off the
Yeah, it does
sack or
something.
whatever.
Yeah. Similarly, Piskei Teshuvos rules of the Chachila, one should not brush his teeth on a fast day. If he is in pain, he may use toothpaste. Look at the underline, David. What does it say here?
Without water.
Without the water. Okay?
That's only the minor fast days.
Yeah. Shalos and Chuvas, Doivev Mishadim rules that someone who has tongue pain, and the way to heal it is by rinsing his mouth, may do so in a place of great need, even on Yom Kippur. with water that isn't fitting to drink. The reason for this leniency is if one doesn't get pleasure from this, there isn't a concern of swallowing, and this is being done for medical reasons. So this is an idea of using something that isn't edible. This is not only talking about mouthwash, which isn't edible, but something that isn't even doesn't even leave one with good breath. Okay?
Yeah. What about that kosher?
No, no, no. You don't
No,
want
you're rinsing your mouth with something that's you spit it out.
better not to. Okay, is it permissible to go to a dentist on a fast day? Charles Chuvas Makadish show rules that one could go to a dentist on a fast day if he is in pain and is careful to spit out all the water that enters his mouth. Going to a dentist on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av would be an issue. Fast day, you could go for sure if you're in pain. Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, more of an issue. Even though dentists sprinkle water into the mouth by using a machine, nevertheless, it would be permissible since this wouldn't be worse than someone who tastes something on a fast day and then spits it out. What's the name of the machine that dentists use to put water in?
No, no, water
I'm
dispenser.
going to write that. So just like you could technically, and we're going to learn about this, taste something on a fast day and then spit it out, so too over here. Shulchan Aruch is lenient and rules that on all fasts except for Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, one can taste food and spit it out, even though the Rama is stringent with every public fast. Nevertheless, in a place of pain and sickness, one can be lenient like the Shulchan Aruch. So that's why you can be lenient because there's pain over here. This would be similar to the Chai Adam's ruling quoted by the Mishnah Brura that for a meal that is a mitzvah, it is permissible to taste something and spit it out, even on a fast day. Still looking up?
This uses to squirt water.
Yeah. Even though over time, by sitting in the dentist's chair, there will end up being more than a revius of water in his mouth. A revius, I'm going to put 3 fluid ounces.
If I accidentally use to spray water and air in your mouth, it's called
Okay.
an air water syringe
Okay,
or a
hold.
three-way syringe.
Okay.
I've
Even
never heard that.
though then to sprinkle by using a air water by using an air water
SYR
SYRINGE
INGE.
air water syringe nevertheless will be permissible since this wouldn't be worse than someone who takes that. That's how you write properly.
Okay, no, I just want to see what the Rev just mentioned before about spitting out.
That's over here.
No, that's with the dentist.
Next?
Yeah.
Okay. So even though there would end up being more than a revius, so this is going to be 3 fluid ounces, let's say, or 2.9 fluid ounces, we could say, of water in his mouth. In total, nevertheless, it is still permissible since some are lenient. Furthermore, no one intends to drink this. This leniency could certainly be applied nowadays that dentists have a suction machine which quickly removes the water from one's mouth. What's the name of the suction machine?
He said it's a three-way thing. He said,
No, that's what sprinkles the water in.
spray water and air in your mouth.
No, that's air. But what's the suction machine called? Suction machine which quickly removes the water from one's mouth. Furthermore, Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach leniently rules that one may go to a dentist on Tainus Esther. Based on this, it is better not to go to a dentist for a cleaning on a fast day. Okay, so that is incredibly relevant over here. When does the fast start? Torah says that fasting on these days starts at dawn, not at night. If these fasts fall on Shabbos, they get pushed off until after Shabbos. Shlomo holds a Baal Nefesh, person of refined character, should stop eating the previous night. Okay, any questions, comments thus far? David, you said you had a question.
Wasn't really, no, I was thinking before bar mitzvah,
What's it called?
before bar mitzvah, what
in your mouth is called a dental suction or saliva ejector.
Okay.
saliva
Saliva
retract-
ejector? I think I like dental suction.
saliva retractor.
Have a dental suction machine.
A saliva.
Okay.
a
Is it
saliva
permissible
sac.
to shower, anoint, wear leather shoes, and have relations on a fast day? Torah Shulchan Aruch say that it's permissible to take a shower, bath, Anoint oneself, wear leather shoes, and have relations on Shavasa Batam, Sum Gedali, Nasar Batavis. Malkin Avram quotes Ran, who explains that this is permissible because the congregation wasn't able to withstand not showering, anointing, and having relations during these fasts. Fasts during.
How can a some
Okay. Notwithstand not showering, anointing,
how can I have
wearing
a child?
leather shoes on these fasts. Magen Avraham says that a Baal Nefesh, person of refined character, should be stringent and not shower, not anoint oneself, and not have relations during these fasts, like Tisha B'Av. One should still wear leather shoes. However, even so, on the Tevila night, one shouldn't separate from his wife. There you have the language quoted in Hebrew right after. Max Shekel explains that when the Jews originally accepted these fasts, it was only accepted halfway, not to eat and drink. These stringencies weren't accepted because they knew that the congregation wasn't able to handle them. The source of the stringency is the Saw. Shalach quotes Rashi, says that it is good for someone who feels that he is able to begin fasting the night before the fast to be stringent and begin fasting at night. Shaul then says that this specifically refers to eating and drinking in order that the fast will be day and night. However, one doesn't need to be stringent with the other afflictions. Nevertheless, someone who is privately stringent with other afflictions should be blessed. Bach says that nowadays we don't see people who shower on the three fast and days, and it is prohibited to tell someone that he may shower on a fast day. Mishnah Berurah rules like the Bach and Eli Rabu say that if the 10th of Teves falls out Erev Shabbos, one should not be stringent and should take a shower with hot water in honor of Shabbos, since there's a mitzvah to wash with hot water, like it is discussed in Siman Reish Samach 260c writings there. Sharatzion quotes a Teres Zakinim who says that the custom is not to shower during any of the three minor fasts. Sharatzion then quotes Pri Megadim, who rules that only showering and bathing with hot water is a problem. However, it is permissible to shower and bathe with cold water. Furthermore, it's permissible to wash one's face, hands, and feet with hot water. So the Pri Megadim over here is, well, first of all, you already see from the Bach, the Teres Zakenim, who says, forget about showering during these fasts. You shouldn't do it. Okay? However, what does showering mean? So the Sha'ar Tzion, this is from the letter of the law. You shouldn't shower fast. Okay, not like Shulchan Aruch. So the Pri Megadim is saying that showering is only with hot water. If using cold water, it's fine. Furthermore, if you wash your hands, your face, hands, and feet with hot water, that's fine because it's partial. Okay, so it comes out that only hot, full body shower would be a problem on a fast day from the letter of the law.
Except on Friday or Shabbos.
So, yes, correct. This Pri Megadim is within the opinion of the Bach, who says that we don't shower on fast days. Pri Megadim teaches that according to the Bach, cold shower would be permissible, or hot water on one's face, hands, and feet. However, according to the Shalosh stringency, a Baal Nefesh shouldn't even take a cold shower. Charles Chuvas Mekadosh Yisrael relates that the custom seems to be to refrain from bathing with hot water in order to get pleasure. Perhaps with cold water, one could be lenient in a case of great need. For example, it's very hot outside. One should refrain from swimming in a public swimming pool. Similarly, the Charles Chuvas Ber Moshe rules that one should refrain from going to a pool for pleasurable purposes during a fast day. No Melech permits going to a pool in order to cool off during a fast day, which is considered for medical reasons. Farfness concludes by allowing using a private swimming pool on a hot day. Similarly, Piskei Teshuvos rules that one should be stringent and not go to a pool or ocean during a fast for pleasurable purposes. However, someone who goes to a pool or ocean for medical reasons may do so on a fast day as well. So, in other words, why are you going to the pool? No pool parties, no public gatherings and the like. You're doing it to either cool off or for exercise. You do it every single day, then that's fine on a fast day. Questions, comments, including tangential questions.
Uh, Tangential question would be, but how is in general, how is a how is a Tinoch, or not a Tinoch, but like a pre-bar mitzvah? I don't know what the name is for like a 10 or 11-year-old, but like how did he have been any mitzvah right now? Like, and if kibbud of aim, but like which mitzvahs do they have? How can they be obligated to keep a mitzvah if it's a pre-bar mitzvah?
Called chinuch.
I know that, but I'm saying, and it's not even their, it's their achrayas. I'm saying it's their,
Yeah. So that, or because if they're not going to start then they're not going to do it when they're bar mitzvah.
Not necessarily if they have. So why do we, how
Can't
is
learn everything in
fasting?
one shot, right?
I know yeah, but so how is fasting? How can if a 10-year-old wants to fast, what's the big deal?
Oh, yeah, because it could be damaging.
Okay.
Mm.
Not good for, not healthy.
Well, so what? All right, it's definitely tangential. It's a big topic, but I'm saying like when
That's the answer. It's not a big topic. That's the answer.
no, as far as like like a having someone who's pre-bar mitzvah, or doing fulfilling mitzvahs, but he's not. I'm sure what I'm getting at, but or if he doesn't want to do mitzvahs, what's his? If he doesn't want to, all of a sudden when he's 13, he wants to do mitzvahs, but before he's 13, it's only chinuch,
Yeah,
or
the
is
Rabbanon,
it?
yeah.
But I'm saying, but before that, he doesn't have. He really, if he just says, when I'm on my 13th birthday, I just want to start doing mitzvahs. That'd be good enough, right? If he says that
No, he has to
he,
before certain things. We're learning by fasting, according to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, that it shouldn't be done before, at least for the minor fast.
but in the tangent is other mitzvahs. Well, how is he? How can he? How is he obligated in other
Other
mitzvahs
mitzvahs,
before?
because you can't just learn everything in one shot. You have to already start practicing before. That's the whole point of it.
I mean, he's learning the other things we've just done, not doing it. He
Nah,
knows how to,
no, you have to get in the motion. You have to get in the system already.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that this is
Very,
I think that
very,
this is better, one of the better summaries.
they're all good this summer.
Most of them are good. A few, the short some of them are. This one was a very thorough
Very
one,
thorough.
very to the
I
point.
think the other ones are thorough too.
There's very little extra in here,
Mhm.
if any, very little. It's all very applicable. Yeah. Okay. It's
But
an
this
excellent
is what I
sermon.
do because of this Rosh Chodesh. I
Yeah.
made sure because I was going to have fish. I said, you know what? I should have my meal, bread
Yeah, for
today.
sure. Yeah,
So
good.
I had to have pizza.
Yeah, good. This is a very good area of halacha to be an expert in. And I think now we all have expertise in this. It's,
Or it's possible